The date is March 29th, 1987. The air in the Pontiac Silverdome radiates with an almost unbearable static, an electricity generated by over 93,000 souls gathered for WrestleMania III, the grandest spectacle in sports entertainment. While the world remembers the seismic clash between titans, Hulk Hogan and André the Giant, a different kind of masterpiece was unfolding, a ballet of brutality and brilliance that would forever redefine the art of professional wrestling. It was a match that, in its 15 minutes, would set a new standard for in-ring performance. A meticulously choreographed symphony of athleticism and storytelling that many still consider the greatest match of all time. We are, of course, talking about the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship bout. Macho Man Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. But to truly appreciate the crescendo of that night, to understand the raw emotion and unparalleled skill that captivated a generation, we must rewind to trace the intricate threads of a rivalry woven with aggression, artistry, and an almost obsessive pursuit of perfection. Our story begins not in the colossal grandeur of a stadium, but in the nascent stages of their federation careers, a spark igniting in the quarter-finals of the Wrestling Classic tournament in 1985. Randy Savage, the enigmatic, flamboyant newcomer, already possessing an undeniable aura of intensity, faced off against the charismatic, high-flying Ricky Steamboat. It was a glimpse into the future, a preview of the magic they could create. The match itself was short, but it contained the seeds of their future animosity. With Miss Elizabeth, Savage's ethereal manager, providing a calculated distraction, Savage resorted to subterfuge, pulling brass knuckles from his tights and striking Steamboat down. It was a victory, yes, but one born of deceit, leaving an indelible mark on Steamboat, a taste of the Macho Man's morally flexible approach to competition. Savage would go on to win the Intercontinental Championship 3 months later, solidifying his status as a dominant force, a whirlwind of aggression and theatricality. Yet the true genesis of their legendary rivalry, the moment that set the stage for their WrestleMania magnum opus, unfolded on a seemingly ordinary night in late 1986, on an episode of Superstars. Steamboat, having climbed the ranks, earned a shot at Savage's Intercontinental title. The match itself was, even by the standards of the era, an underrated classic, a high-octane display of their burgeoning chemistry. Savage, ever the cunning champion, managed to escape with a victory by countout. But it was what transpired after the final bell that etched itself into the annals of wrestling history. With a chilling disregard for sportsmanship, Savage continued his assault, dragging Steamboat to the outside, and in a moment of visceral, shocking brutality, crushed Steamboat's throat against the unforgiving steel guardrail. The ring bell, a symbol of fair competition, became a weapon in Savage's hands as he used it to further brutalize Steamboat's larynx. This wasn't merely a post-match beatdown, it was a declaration of war, a barbaric act that left Steamboat gasping for breath, his career and indeed his very voice seemingly jeopardized. The kayfabe injury was profound, eliciting genuine shock and outrage from the audience, transforming Savage from a flamboyant villain into an outright menace, and Steamboat from a popular babyface into a sympathetic hero yearning for vengeance. The landscape of professional wrestling in the 1980s was a vibrant tapestry of larger-than-life characters. But even within this flamboyant world, Randy Savage stood out. He was a singular force, a maelstrom of charisma and intensity, matched only by an almost obsessive perfectionism. Savage was a student of the game, meticulously scouting potential opponents, dissecting their styles, and envisioning the narratives they could weave together in the squared circle. In Ricky Steamboat, he recognized a kindred spirit in dedication, a high-flying babyface whose agile, impactful style would complement his own aggressive, methodical approach. It was Savage, the perfectionist, who saw the potential for greatness, who actively lobbied Federation management to put them in a feud, a testament to his artistic vision and unwavering belief in their combined abilities. He wasn't just interested in winning, he was interested in creating, in crafting a story that would resonate. And remarkably, Savage, the reigning Intercontinental Champion, even proposed the unthinkable, dropping the prestigious title to Steamboat. Such a suggestion, coming from a champion of Savage's stature, spoke volumes about his commitment to the craft and his recognition of Steamboat's talent. The initial angle, born from Savage's heinous assault, simmered for weeks. Steamboat was off television, recovering from his on-screen injury, a period that allowed the anticipation for his return to reach a fever pitch. Meanwhile, Savage continued his reign of terror, often targeting other fan favorites. This is where another key player in their saga entered the fray: George the Animal Steele. Steele, a bizarre yet lovable character, had developed a peculiar infatuation with Miss Elizabeth, a dynamic that frequently drew Savage's ire. It was on the January 3rd, 1987 edition of Saturday Night's Main Event that Steamboat made his dramatic return. Just as Savage was about to inflict a similar ring bell assault on George Steele, Steamboat burst onto the scene, a whirlwind of righteous fury, saving Steele and signaling to Savage that his reign of terror would not go unchallenged. The narrative was complete, the injured hero, fueled by vengeance, returning to face the villain who had wronged him. Now, with the added dynamic of George Steele in his corner, a wild card whose presence added another layer of unpredictability. What followed in the months leading up to WrestleMania III was an extraordinary collaboration, a testament to the dedication of both men. The Savage-Steamboat rivalry wasn't just a series of matches, it was a meticulous, almost scientific endeavor. Unlike the more improvisational nature of most wrestling matches at the time, Savage and Steamboat embarked on an unprecedented journey of preparation. They meticulously planned their WrestleMania encounter not in a single session, but over months, using house show matches as a laboratory for their creativity. Each bout on the regional circuit became an opportunity to experiment, to try new sequences, new reversals, new near falls. If a particular spot drew a strong reaction from the live crowd, it was added to the ever-expanding blueprint of their WrestleMania masterpiece. Sequences were painstakingly written out on legal pads, numbered lists that detailed every move, every counter, every dramatic beat. They would quiz each other backstage, ensuring that every nuance, every transition was committed to memory. Steamboat himself would later admit to the immense stress of remembering each precise sequence, a reflection of the unparalleled complexity they were building. This wasn't just wrestling, it was an athletic theatrical production, a living, breathing script that would unfold before a global audience. The match at WrestleMania III became a legend, not only for its execution, but also for the underlying psychology and masterful pacing. It was a relentless cascade of reversals and near falls, a dizzying display of action that kept the audience on the edge of their seats. The referee, Dave Hebner, was an unsung hero in this drama. Savage, ever the detail-oriented perfectionist, had instructed Hebner to always attempt a 3 count, regardless of how quickly a shoulder was raised. This directive amplified the realism and urgency, forcing both Savage and Steamboat to be hyper-aware, to kick out at the last possible nanosecond, building an unbearable tension with each count. The match was a symphony of perfectly timed maneuvers, a breathtaking display of athleticism that flowed seamlessly from one spot to the next. Savage's aggressive, almost unhinged offense was met with Steamboat's fluid, high-flying counters. The crowd gasped, cheered, and roared with every 2 count, every heart-stopping moment where victory seemed within grasp, only to be snatched away. As the match neared its climax, the external elements woven into the rivalry began to pay dividends. Savage, in a moment of desperation and perhaps poetic justice, attempted to use the ring bell, the very weapon he had used to injure Steamboat months prior. But George Steele, a spectral, almost primal force in Steamboat's corner, intervened, knocking Savage off the top rope. The crowd erupted, sensing the tide turning. In a brilliant reversal as Savage attempted a scoop slam, Steamboat countered, transitioning into a small package pin for the 3 count. The roar of the Silverdome was deafening. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat had done it. He had defeated Macho Man Randy Savage, ending his nearly 14-month reign as Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. It was a moment of pure catharsis, the culmination of a brutal rivalry and the dawn of a new champion. The sight of Steamboat hoisting the title, the relief and joy on his face, was a stark contrast to Savage's stunned disbelief. This was the first time in WrestleMania history that the Intercontinental Championship changed hands, adding another layer to its legendary status. The outpouring of emotion backstage after the match was as telling as the action in the ring. Savage and Steamboat, the bitter rivals, were seen cheering and hugging other wrestlers, a testament to the respect they had for each other's artistry and the monumental achievement they had just pulled off. Their rivalry, though culminating in this iconic encounter, didn't end there. For the fans watching at home, Steamboat's triumph seemed like the definitive conclusion. However, the two men continued to battle on the house show circuit, a grueling tour that saw them engage in 22 more singles matches, including 14 steel cage matches. These continued battles, even after the championship had changed hands, underscored the depth of their in-ring chemistry and the demand for their electrifying encounters. Their final singles match occurred in mid-June, nearly 2 months after WrestleMania III, and after Steamboat had already lost the Intercontinental title to the Honky Tonk Man, a reign that unfortunately would be far less memorable than his victory. In time, the dynamics of professional wrestling shifted, and Randy Savage, ever adaptable, transitioned into a babyface, forming new alliances and engaging in new rivalries. He and Steamboat, once such bitter enemies, would even periodically team up. Their most famous alliance came at the 1987 Survivor Series, where they emerged victorious in an elimination match alongside Jake Roberts, a surprising yet satisfying full circle to their narrative. Their last match together, a tag team bout against the Hart Foundation in February 1988 at a house show, marked the true end of their active association in the ring. Steamboat would later depart for World Championship Wrestling in 1989, retiring in 1994, with Savage following suit to the rival promotion that same year. The rivalry between Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat transcends mere wrestling. It was a clash of titans, yes, but also a collaboration of artists, two men who pushed the boundaries of what was thought possible in the squared circle. They didn't just have matches, they crafted narratives, painted pictures with their bodies, and told stories of vengeance, redemption, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. Their WrestleMania III encounter remains a timeless classic, a benchmark against which all other matches are measured, a testament to the power of meticulous planning, unwavering dedication, and the undeniable magic that happens when two extraordinary talents converge to create a true cinematic masterpiece. Their legacy isn't just in the titles they held or the arenas they filled, it's in the unforgettable moments they created, moments that continue to inspire, captivate, and remind us why we fell in love with the art form of professional wrestling.